The Science Compiler Dreadnought in Star Trek Online 13th Year Anniversary Ship Event Reward. Let's do the gameplay review. Welcome to Justice Gaming, everybody. I have in front of me the Compiler Science Dreadnought Tier 6 starship from the 13th anniversary event. This is the reward that you get during the 13th year anniversary. I am going to go over this ship today. We're going to do a gameplay review of it. And what does that mean? It means I'm going to take this ship and I'm going to show it to you in gameplay, in combat. We're going to look at some of the major abilities it has, such as the universal console it comes with, the starship trait, and one potential build, obviously, you could do on this ship. But there are, of course, so many different types of ways that you could use this ship, so many different types of builds. This video is not necessarily about my build, and it's not about how I have it configured. It is just simply here to demonstrate for you the ship itself and what we can do with the innate or native abilities of the ship. This is a Compiler Science Dreadnought, as we said. That is a compiler class. That is an actual class of starship that they have given this or created for it. It can be flown by any character on any faction. Once you had achieved this reward from the 13th year anniversary, it is then playable on any of your characters, so it is an account-wide reward. It has a universal console called Volatile Digital Transformation. It has digital construct drones, which are hangar bay drones you can deploy, and it has the trait ability called Digital Compilation. Let's begin by first taking a look at this ship from a visual perspective. It is very, very unique. It has an extremely unique design. It's kind of short and stubby, but yet is very tall because it has this bit coming down here and these bits sticking out here. So it has this very tall and chunky, thick look to it, but yet really short and stubby. So it's a unique kind of ship to fly in the game. It feels very odd at first because of the way it's shaped. As you're flying it, doesn't quite feel like a ship. It feels like you're flying a big chunky box thing. So let me show you what some of the views look like on this thing. If we zoom all the way in, I just want to show you how big it is so you get an idea for scale. When I am zoomed all the way in, the ship fills the entire screen, but watch what happens when I zoom all the way out. Yeah, this is zoomed all the way out. That's as far as you can zoom out on the ship, which gives you an idea for how big the ship is. This is an extremely large ship. So keep that in mind as you're flying it because it will seem kind of weird. So let's go to Impulse here and I will kind of fly around, give you some background with the Earth here, and I can show you like how slow it moves. It has a very slow turn rate. And of course, that's going to be completely dependent on your character and your skills and abilities. If you had, for example, the pilot specialization, well then your turn rate's going to be better. If you had RCS accelerators on it or other things that could increase turn rate, well that's going to be dependent. But inherently, it is a slow moving and turning ship. Therefore, this is going to be the kind of ship where you will want to use beam arrays primarily. Now, from a side view, it looks like that, and again, I'm zoomed out all the way. From the front view, we have the digitizer plasma beams in the front. And in the back, you can see through, and you have the digitizer beams here. And it has a very open kind of center, which actually looks kind of odd as you're flying it, honestly. Having this open center looks pretty odd. It does have the plasma that goes through the pylons on it, I guess these are called. And that gives it an organic and always moving kind of look. As we zoom into the texture quality on it, for this game, it is very detailed. Naturally, you can use different shields on it as well. Different shields will give it different visuals to it and make it look different. Right now, I have no visuals applied to it, so this is the default visual here. Okay, now I'm going to go into the ship customizer, and we're going to take a look at what we can do to it in the ship customizer. Okay, and now we are back in the ship customization for the Compiler Science Dreadnought. Let's see what we can do visually with this ship. So if we look under templates, the default template is compiler, and that's what you're seeing here. We have other templates that will make it look unique. Compiler Other changes it to a red plasma color. So if you want to do something different and look different than others, choose Compiler Other, and you will get the Mirror Universe version of that. So that's very nice. We also have Compiler Crusher. Now that gives a purple view, and I think that's supposed to be like when Wesley Crusher is reigning over V'ger or the other. That is, I think, the color there. More of a purplish, which I actually kind of like a lot. Then we have Compiler Seeker. This one I'm not quite sure, but it is orange. So that is also unique. Yellowish orange. Orange-yellow. Or yellowish, I guess. Now, we also have some other things. We have two materials, supposedly, Compiler and V'ger, but I don't see it doing anything when I change that, so I'm not sure if that's broken or what that's about, but Compiler is the default, and technically you do have a second material called V'ger. Interior, well, let's go to Windows. We just have Compiler. Interior, we just have the basic bridge Starship Current, which doesn't match. So this thing has no unique bridge. What can you do? That's unfortunate. I wish it had a unique bridge. That would have been really cool to see. Unfortunately, that does not exist. Okay, now we are in space above Earth space dock with our Compiler Science Dreadnought, and we can take a look at its powers and abilities and see what this thing can do before we go into combat. So, I am on a science character right now. I am on Rassilon. He is my science character. He is Romulan faction, Federation aligned. I have this character spec'd for plasma damage, and that's important because that goes hand in hand with the weapon type that you are given in the mission. When you play that for this ship, and that goes with this ship, you get these boxes you can open for digitizer weapons, and they are plasma energy based. So let's go up here. This is what you get. Plasma digitizer beam arrays. Now they do come levelless currently, but you can of course upgrade them. They also have a unique look to them, and they go hand in hand with our ship, but they aren't necessary. You don't have to have the digitizer beams if you don't want to use them on this ship. You're not bound to that, but if you do use them, you need to use plasma weapon damage. You also get the heavy plasma digitizer launcher, which is a high AoE, damage and disable. And you can see what it does there. It creates a level 60 heavy plasma digitizer probe. So that's what the ship comes with. Also, you can get a dual beam bank as well. So beams or dual beams, or the torpedo, I'm going to call it, but they call it a probe. So it's a heavy digitizer probe, basically. Now, you can take all of these and upgrade them, which I have done. I have Mark 15 digitizer plasma beam, Mark 15, and then the Mark 15 heavy digitizer plasma torpedo. So that goes hand in hand with this ship, and it just, you know, thematically fits with the ship if you want to use it. There's nothing extremely special about those weapons there. It's just that it fits the theme of it. But let's move on to what is special about the ship, and we want to look at the special console and trait. So this comes with the Console Universal Volatile Digitization Matrix. So just having this on your ship gives you a plus 20% power transfer rate, A plus 28.5 Starship Exotic Particle Generator improves exotic damage, and plus 5% shield hit points. So you get that innate ability just by having this on your ship. So you can put this on any ship and just get those abilities. But you do have this special ability with it, and that's called the Volatile Digital Transformation. It transforms your ship, basically, into digitizer probes, and they deal heavy plasma damage. Transform yourself into a digitizer probe for up to 20 seconds. Weapons and abilities, however, are disabled. Your flight speed and turn rate is improved. Your plasma damage to foes is 2438 on mine right here at 5 kilometers. That's again going to depend on your skill level and all that, skill points. When transformation ends, an additional 20,000 plasma damage to foe within 5 kilometers after 5 seconds creates 4 digitizer probes which travel outward, dealing plasma damage to foes within 5 kilometers. Digitizer probes detonate after 12 seconds, dealing additional plasma damage. Control amplification to target, minus 25 exotic damage resistance, and minus 25 control resistance to your target. So that's its special ability, and I will demonstrate that and show that to you. The next ability, let's look at the digital compilation. This is the final mastery that you can unlock, and this one I like a lot. It says defeated foes create chasing plasma damage AoEs. So defeated foes, that means you defeating a foe, they transform, the foe transforms, into a digitizer probe that chases other foes for 15 seconds, and it deals 1361 plasma damage per second to foes within 2.5 kilometers. So yes, defeating your foe creates digitizer probes that then also attack the other foes. This ability, really cool, and I like it a lot. So, you have the Elite Digital Construct Drone. Actually, this is the one it comes with. I have the Fleet version here, as you can see, but this is the one it comes with. Hangar Digital Construct Drone. Rare Hangar Bay. Compiler Science Dreadnought, or any full carrier. Digital Construction Drone Equipment and Abilities. So these are single ships, and they have a 2x digitizer plasma beam array, 1 fore, 1 aft. They have 1 digitizer plasma dual beam bank, 4, 1 heavy plasma digitizer probe, 4, subnucleonic pulse, so remember this is a science ship, beam overload 1, gravimetric conversion 1, and digital impact, possible only at low hull. So that's what it comes with. That is a level 66 digital construct drone. But I, of course, have the fleet version, so you can get this in your fleet. And again, these are level 66, but it is ultra rare. So it does the 2x digitizer plasma beam array, it has 1x digitizer plasma dual beam bank, and then it has the 1x heavy plasma digitizer probe, but it has beam overload 3, gravimetric conversion 3, and digital impact. So a little bit more buffed up there on that. We can launch 2 at a time. They are very useful, and if you have this ship, I recommend using them. Because it's a carrier, you do have carrier abilities for these. As you can see here, we have attack, we have escort, we have intercept, and we have recall. So let's first deploy one of them, and I will show you what that looks like. There it comes out to the front on that one. It is an Elite Digital Construct Drone. We'll try to take a closer look at it here if I can get it in screen. Not a great view of it, I apologize, but that's what it looks like. It's basically a little tiny one of these, right? Now, if we look at the hull on it, let's see what hull strength it has. This one has 47,278 hull on this, so it just is going to do its own thing. You pretty much don't have to worry about it. Alright, the first ability I want to show you is the Volatile Digital Transformation. So, as I hit this ability, it's going to convert or digitize my starship, and it is going to turn me into an energy ball, and it's going to create several energy balls that extend out. Now, I cannot control where those other energy balls go, but I can control the movement of myself. So, for example, I'm going to hit this. Here we go. Boom. We are now digitally converted, and those spread out. Now, I can move. I can move my little ball, but I can't move these. I cannot move those projectiles. They do plasma damage. They do this little dance that they're doing. They explode, and then I'm back to normal. So therein lies the rub with this ability, in my opinion. is your enemy needs to not move. If your enemy moves out of the way or out of the area of effect, it's useless. It's pointless. But also, the second problem is, while you're transformed, you yourself cannot fire weapons. But the enemy can still fire on you and destroy you. So you become a bit vulnerable. Now, for the starship trait, I cannot demonstrate that until we go into combat. So, what do you say? Let's go into combat. But before we jump into combat, let me just show you my stats so you know what I'm playing with here and what I've got. Hull on this ship is currently 129,993, so it has a very high hull strength. It is a very strong ship. It has 35,000 on shields, so that's pretty good. I've got 35% on resists. Crit chance is 27.5%. Crit severity is pretty high. I've got 130%. And then my turn rate is when I'm at impulse. When I'm at impulse, my turn rate is 13.2 degrees per second. As I said, I am buffed for plasma damage. I'm really not going to go over everything else. But otherwise, that's what I'm running right now. Again, this is not about my build. This is about simply showing you this ship in combat, showing you its abilities, how it works, and how it plays as a starship. Alright, I am now going to go into combat. We're going to first go to simple patrol, so that I can show off the abilities. But then I'm going to go into a really hard one with a whole lot of hard-hitting enemies, give you a good idea of what this ship is like in combat when there's like a whole lot of enemies. But first, I'm going to go to an easy patrol just to demonstrate the abilities. Okay, I am in the Karaya system patrol. It is a very easy Romulan patrol, and I'm here to demonstrate the abilities on the Compiler Science Dreadnought. First one I'm going to do is the digitizer matrix or transformation, volatile digital transformation. So I'm going to enable it. Now, while it's active, you'll see that I am sending plasma damage to the ship. These things are going out. These should explode and do damage, so let's see how much damage it does. Oh, see, that one's out of range. I mean, look, it did damage, but did it do a lot? Did it really do a lot? No. These ships are not dead, therefore it did not do a lot. Okay, let's bring out my first wing. This is the digital construct drone, and let's get them firing here. That one's firing on them. There, you see, it just used subnucleonic beam, and it's firing digitizer weapons at them. So that is the probe doing its thing. Let's get the other one out when it's ready. Okay, let's get them both going there. All right. And hopefully you can see them in action. There they are over there. They're doing their thing. They help, right? And as you really start engaging the enemy, they will help a lot. They do help a lot. Right shield's failing. Oh, look, it digitized one of them. See? Look, it digitized the enemy. So it didn't turn him into one of those probes, but when you kill an enemy, it digitizes them. It, like, disintegrates them. Okay, now that I have demonstrated that, I'm going to go into actual combat here and let's do some fighting. The first thing I want to demonstrate is to show you what torpedo spread, or no, let's do high yield. I want to show you what a high yield does with the digitizer torpedo, okay? Or probe, as they call it. So here's the high yield digitizer probe. So it can launch a high yield plasma digitizer probe. And watch it when it hits the ship. There we go. Did an okay amount of damage. Now we can also try the torpedo spread, and I'll show you what torpedo spread does. Well, it only let one out, but it can do torpedo spread. It does do torpedo spread. I'm getting held by tractor beams and it's driving me crazy. As you can see, it's a very cumbersome ship. It's actually hard to fly, especially when you've got tractor beams all over you. So that was just a small demonstration. Let's try the torpedo spread again. So we saw what the high yield does. Let's do the torpedo spread once again. We only have a couple of ships here, but let's try it. Oops. Killed that one too fast.
Target's shields have failed.
Okay. Didn't quite do it that time. It does work, I swear. I only have torpedo spread 1 though, so it might not do it all the time. I probably need a lot of enemies on screen. I'll try it in the future when we have that. Alright, let's get this guy. Let's do another high yield. Why don't I have high yield? There we go. Okay, that was that. Let's do some actual combat now. Alright, so you can see the enemy is gone. Now that we have multiple enemies here, I'm going to try torpedo spread again. There it goes. Alright, we got a couple of those probes going, so that is yeah, I think it let 3 of them out that time, so it does work. Torpedo spread and high yield both work. Oops. Very hard to maneuver. They have been digitized. Alright, now let's just take out the rest of everybody here normally. Okay, oh look, it did, here we go. Here's the trait, digitizer probes. See those digitizer probes? That's from defeating the enemy. That's from defeating the foe and then them turning into digitizer probes. So that was the trait coming through right there, where the digital compilation trait. So at the end there, it finally got some that turned into probes. Now, I do find that feature extremely useful. When you're really in combat and you start killing a lot of people, that really works well. I find that it works really well. But as you saw, this one here, the volatile digital transformation, not so much. The enemy can just move out of the way, and then it's not very useful. So, and you're very vulnerable. So, let's do something a little bit more difficult, and we'll do some like actual real patrol, hard patrol stuff. Alright, for our harder combat, I am going to use the Jupiter Gauntlet. It is a very good patrol to really test your ship's abilities, because it throws a lot of enemies at you, so this is going to have a lot of enemies, but also we have 2 versions, a normal and a hard. I'm going to do both in this video just to give you guys a good representation of this ship's abilities and how it flies. So sit back and relax and watch all the things happening. Pay attention to the digitizer probes that are created from my ability. Pay attention to me using the volatile digital compilation thing, and of course using my hangar pets as well. I'll try to talk about some of it while we're in battle, but if things get a little too hairy, I may not talk a whole lot. But let's launch the normal version first, and then I'll do the hard version.
Enemy ships warping in near projection
So
station
I'm
Alpha.
just going to
We
play
have
this
multiple
like I would
objects
play
marked.
anything on my own. I'm going to play this. I'm going to play this for reals.
The cod is dead in space. Ship is under attack. Target's shield has failed.
And you can kind of see how this thing works as a ship.
Next group incoming.
There's those probes.
Attack. Target's shield has failed.
more of the enemy probes from killing the enemy.
Approaches projector station Gamma. Beat them in battle.
Oof. It's a cumbersome ship, though. Cumbersome ship to fly. I'll try the digitalization. Let's do that. I'm going to show you that. Again, I'm vulnerable. See, they're killing me as we're talking here. And these things should explode and do damage. Oh, being pushed away. All right, that did something, I guess. Turning this thing is so weird. The way it looks when you're turning is just really odd. Hard to get familiar with it. Really good. See, there's the little probes I created. And I do have the hangars going, so just keep an eye out for them. It's hard for me to tell where they are. There's so much going on right now. So that was the normal version of Jupiter Gauntlet. Pretty simple. 75%. And you can kind of see how the abilities work on it and how the ship works in combat. But let's try something a little bit harder, shall we? I'm going to do the hard mode now. Okay, here we go, everyone. Jupiter Gauntlet Hard. Let's go. So this will be a tougher enemy.
The recent
enemy ships warping in near projection station Alpha.
And let's give it all she's got, Captain. Oh, good. We have the Undine. I hate it because they slow you down with their stuff. See the little foe. He was shooting my foe that I defeated. Digitizer probe was shooting them, so that when you get a lot of these guys working, they really do. They are really good. Too close. Too close. Back up a little bit. Oh, I can't move. I'm stuck. Okay, let's do this one. I'm going to save my main ability for the big enemy, the Dreadnought. Can't move. I'm stuck. Look at my little friends. All right, here's the Dreadnought, but I want to turn around and use my main ability. Let's go. Uh-oh, my health is not good. Well, hopefully... Oh, crap, I'm about to die. Oh, this is the problem I was talking about. This is the problem I was talking about. Okay. Oh, crap. And I'm dead. As I said, you become very vulnerable. That's unfortunate. Yep. I hate the bubbles. Bubbles are hard to move. Make it hard to move. I can't move. Oh, look at my little probe friends going. I love it. Love that. Love that ability. Okay, Dreadnought left. Go get him. Use a high yield on him. Whoa, where'd he go? Oh, he teleported. Okay, let's use the digitizer compilation one more time. We'll give it a go. This is our last chance. Show you how that works again. I'm gonna kind of stay right here, doing some damage to him. And hopefully this will do something. I don't know. Let's see what happens.
Rear shield failing.
Yeah, see, that didn't do a lot of damage.
Target shield has failed.
Alright, I'm not going to use any of my other abilities. I really want to demonstrate the ship's abilities, so let's just keep going here. I want to use a high yield on him. Okay, heavy plasma digitizer. Yeah, there you go. And he's gone. All right. I think that is a good demonstration of the ship for you all. I think you might have a grasp now on how this thing works, how it flies in space, how it maneuvers, how it operates with its weapons. I'm going to go back to ESD now, and we'll give a little bit of a summary here and my thoughts on this. Alright, we are back at Earth Space Dock in space now with my Compiler Science Dreadnought Tier 6 ship. This was the 13th anniversary event reward ship that you got from that event. Obviously, this ship is based off of V'ger, or the other, I guess it could be either one, that this game introduced. We got to play those storyline missions, and they were a lot of fun. But this ship has obviously taken inspiration from that, so we see what it's all about and what it's meant to be. And it's meant to represent a small V'ger. It's supposed to be like a tiny V'ger. But you can see from playing with it that it is a cumbersome ship that turns very slowly. It looks kind of awkward when you're flying it. And it has an ability that I don't think is extremely useful. Volatile digital transformation. No, I don't think that's very useful. So some of the downsides, as you saw, when you use it, you're completely vulnerable and you can get shot down or killed. You cannot fire weapons, so you're just vulnerable. And if you fly outside the area of effect, then what's the point? Also, you can't move the other probes that it sends out. So while it's doing that, the enemy can fly out of the area of effect. So there's that. And a third one I just thought of is it takes a long time to activate. So like while your teammates are there destroying the enemy in a TFO, for example, you're playing a TFO and you've got a real powerful team, they're already taking out the enemy. By the time you activate this to use your special power, they've probably got the enemy defeated. And I have ran into that problem several times with this ability. It takes so long to activate and do its thing and work that once for it to blow up, the final explosion, I mean, usually, normally, the enemy's already dead before that because your other teammates are doing that. So its ability is not extremely useful because it just takes too long. It takes too long to do its thing. So what ends up happening is you just don't end up using it. I was flying this ship for quite a while, and I used it in a lot of things, and I just simply did not use this ability, Volatile Digital Transformation, at all. I just didn't end up using it. That's how useless I think that ability is, but that's my opinion. You may feel differently. The other ability, however, that is extremely useful, the trait, the digital compilation trait, that is useful. So I recommend maybe using this trait on another starship. Put it in your starship traits and use it as one of your starship traits. It actually is a useful trait ability because the foes that you create or defeat are turned into digitizer probes, and they do damage to other enemies. But again, it's plasma damage, so you want to buff for plasma damage if you want the most effect. Also, the hangar bays, the digitizer probes from the hangar construct drones, they also do plasma damage, so you want to buff for plasma damage, make sure you do that. And then, of course, if you're going to use the digitizer plasma weapons, you're going to want to buff for plasma. So that's what that is. Now, as a science dreadnought, it's kind of cool because it's also a carrier. So it's a science dreadnought carrier. You have a hangar bay, so that's fun. And that gives it a little more flexibility. And it is a very powerful science ship. A lot of science ships usually only come with like 3 forward weapon slots. This one has 4 forward weapon slots. Now only 3 aft, but 4 forward. So that is more than a lot of science ships, which may only have 3. So keep that in mind. It can be a powerful ship for a science character, but it is going to have a certain type of play style. It's going to be big and large and slow and cumbersome. And it's also going to have an ability that you probably will not end up using and will probably just take that console off anyway and put something else in its place. I hope you all enjoyed this gameplay review of the Compiler Science Dreadnought Tier 6 in Star Trek Online. Let me know what you thought of this ship. Do you plan to play with it more if you were able to get it during the 13th anniversary? And if you have, do you like it? Do you enjoy it? Is it not your cup of tea? And what would you change about it? Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for the next one.